Trash Talk Radio, coming to you live on MP3 from high on a hill above beautiful Lake Washington. My name is Lestro, and with me, as always, is the Guru.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
And you know how this goes. We're here to talk a little trash on the week's run of the sports. I don't know anybody except the Guru, and the Guru knows all.
Man, you know, I know just a little something, man. Just a little something, man.
Guru, it is episode number 66, and we are deep in the heart of X's and O's season as the championship games are set. They said the Chiefs' defense was suspect, but then how'd they stop Andrew Luck and the Colts? The Cowboys and the Rams was won in the trenches as LA ran their way into the next round. On Sunday, the Patriots handed the Chargers an old-school ass whooping, and the magic finally ran out for Nick Foles and the Eagles as Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, and the Saints just kept on coming at Philly. Plus, we're looking ahead to next week's championships games as it's an old-school versus new-school matchup and a pair of sequels of high-flying powerhouses. Then, segment 2 brings us the call-outs and shout-outs, our Bets with Ben segment from Ben Carey with thecurrencykings.com. You know we got a 2-minute drill. Guru, episode number 66.
Let's roll. Man.
My man, it is good to see you. How you doing?
Man, I'm living the dream, man. Don't you pinch me, man. Don't you pinch me.
Guru, we should tell the people that we are coming at this fresh off these games. It is Sunday night here on Trash Talk Radio. We are coming fresh off these games, man. So it has been right on the weekend. You see you drinking a little bit of coffee as we're getting into this show here.
That's what they think.
But I got to tell you, man, you were dead on about the games this weekend. You called it almost exactly what was going to happen on last week's episode to tell us what was going on. This weekend must have just been for you like, yeah, man, kicking back, like nothing new. I saw all this coming.
Oh, come on, man. This is the humble Guru here, man.
Yeah, right.
You know, the Guru.
That's it. No, but seriously, you called this. This was these games. Now, this was the favorites going in to win. It wasn't no upsets this weekend. Unfortunately for my Philadelphia Eagles, bounce now. No big upsets this weekend. But you saw this going almost exactly how it did. And as you always say, this is X's and O's season. We got the offensive season, we got the defensive season when it gets cold, and then when the tournament begins, it's X's and O's season.
X's and O's season, man. It's Cheerio season, man. It's like I tell people, their players got Wheaties. You know what I'm saying? That's early in the season. That's for the players. But the playoff, it's all about the O's, the X's and O's, man. That Cheerio season, man. Cheerio, send that check.
Send that check. So Guru, what did you see from the coaching this weekend, man? I'll tell you what. Let's do it in order. Let's start with the Colts Chiefs this weekend. Talk to me a little bit about this game, because this game, the Colts came in with a high-flying offense, and everybody was saying it was the Chiefs' defense that was suspect as we went in. I don't know, man. They looked pretty stiff to me.
Obviously, the reason why the Chiefs played so hard in the regular season is the advantage of playing at home. You know, there's certain nuances that happens when you're playing at home, especially the way the Kansas City Chiefs are built defensively. They're a pass rushing type of defense. With as far as Justin Houston, D Ford, Chris Jones, so they get after the quarterback. So with where they are, their dynamic as far as their stadium being one of the loudest, that tends to get as far as the timing for the offensive line. So it's harder for them to hear any type of changes on the line, the scrimmage from Andrew Luck, and they might have to do a little quiet or silent count, which all makes you have to think more than execute. So that slight attention span is going to be one of the reasons why, you get a home field advantage. So defensively, that's what the Chiefs basically did. They basically said, hey, I feel like our defense, our DBs could handle your guy because our pass rusher is going to get to you before you get to our secondary, to our DBs. And that's what they did. And the Chiefs secondary held up. Kudos to Bob Sutton for that.
So this game, was all Chiefs all the time through here. Does this get Andy Reid over the hump? Is he finally got the offense that he needs in order to get him?
No, it's not the offense that he needs. He already had the offense that he needs. What he got, and I kept trying to tell you, last show, one of the biggest Andy Reid haters is, for the first time in Andy Reid head coaching in the resume, he has a quarterback now that could execute every facet of his complicated offensive scheme. So basically, you have a quarterback that could complete a single wide receiver screen to a tight end screen to a shovel pass, because he has a way to make any type of trajectory with every type of angle of passing, to put a touch there, to throw it deep. So he's the best quarterback he ever had in his system. So now we're able to see what Andy Reid really is capable of, because we can see what Sean Payton is capable of because he had a Drew Brees. We could see what Belichick and those guys are Josh Allen is capable of because he has a Brady. But Andy Reid never really had that. The closest was McNabb. Well, we know McNabb was lacking that long comeback outside throw. He always throw in the dirt. So we know he was lacking that type of he had that type of deficiency. So, yes, this is the first time Andy Reid because it was never about his offense.
It was never about his offense.
It was never about his offense. It was never about his offensive skill. Like his scheme works. Andy Reid put up numbers. You know what I'm saying? McNabb was a good player. Everyone, his players, whoever the rest. What's the dude's name again? The quarterback.
For who?
Smith.
Alex Smith?
Alex Smith, you know? It's like wherever Andy Reid, you have legitimate starting pro quarterback. You can say that, right?
Right, of course. He's had them all his entire career.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he never had an elite level, next level like this guy.
Well, he set it up this week with the run, and more of the run, right? He used
what Andy Reid don't do like we predicted. But it's just the way the Colts defense is set up. You know, they're light in their no disrespect, but you know, like as far as man size and weight wise, they're a little bit built more on speed than mass. Mm-hmm. You know, so the Chiefs were able to take advantage of that as far as running game. And that's what happened. And that's what I foresee going into that game. And Damien Williams did a outstanding job, got over 100 yards rushing, just totally dominated. You know, and they used him in the running game and the passing game, about 25 rushes and 5 receptions as far as screenplay. So Andy Reid did what Andy Reid did. And what I tell you about exactly with the Colts playing our cover 2 scheme previously going, and Kelsey is going to be an X factor.
Yeah.
Boom. And Kelsey was an X factor. So it's just exactly what we thought. It was a bad matchup.
Yeah, Kelsey led the Chiefs in receiving with 108 yards.
7 catches. So it was just a bad matchup. There's nothing the Colts could have done. You know, I made a joke earlier, said they're like pre-cum, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know,
You're here.
Yeah, they're just here. There's nothing they could have. They just ran into, we both said it, a buzzsaw.
Yeah. We'll see them again next year, though. The Colts, that team is not going anywhere. They'll be back. But the Chiefs, as we talked about, now they hold serve. This home field advantage was important for them. It was cold and miserable in Arrowhead, just the way they like it, and loud as hell. Mm-hmm. So they'll hold it again next week as the Patriots come to town there. We'll get to that in a second, though. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the second game on Saturday, which was the Cowboys at L.A. to play the Rams. And of course, once again, it could have been a trap game. There was a lot of Cowboys fans at the game. L.A. holds on here, Guru. What happened in this one? This one was trenches.
It was, it was. It was about the Rams' offensive line. I mean, they totally manhandled the Cowboys' D-line up and down throughout the game. Like, it was a beautiful masterpiece, you know. Obviously, McVay coming from Shanahan's tree, the Shanny game. So there was a lot of zone concept as far as the running game and the blocking game. So a lot of the linemen were getting to the second level. So it was very executed. It was kind of shocking because I would.
This is a high-flying offense. This is an offense we've seen just flying, and they have 200-yard rushers in this game.
Exactly. It's so crazy, right? Just the Chiefs a high-flying offense, right? And then the Rams high-flying offense. The funny thing is they both didn't have no passing touchdown in that game. It was all rushing touchdowns.
It's all on the ground there.
All on the ground.
Crazy.
It's crazy, right? One of the 2 highest aerial attack. When it comes to the Cheerio seasons, you know, when it comes to the X's and O's season, it's all about that ground game, baby. Give me that ground beef, baby.
So how did they do this? How did they call this game to make sure that they had to get this win? The Rams. What did they do? They just ran it down their throats. Was that
the simple concept? They stopped Zeke, and defensively, what they did, they stopped Zeke and said, you know what, Dak, guess what, buddy? Let's play ball, buddy. Let's play ball. And one thing I got to say about the Rams is, and I'm not calling out someone, but in a sense I am. I think the Rams got away with one there. I think their Achilles heel entirely on the whole defense of the Rams moving forward is Marcus Peters as far as their corner. I think Marcus Peters is a high deficiency that's been hidden due to the fact that he has other guys that's able to basically play higher higher than their level to hide his deficiencies and how bad he's playing for that defense. Man for man wise, he's the weakest link, and he will be exposed. And I think he's going to cost the Rams somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I was from what I saw of this game, because I with the baby, I didn't get to sit down and watch the whole thing go. But as I was checking in on it, it seemed to me that watching the Rams that they should have been better, and it was just the Cowboys almost failed to capitalize a couple of times. That they
yeah, absolutely. It came down to Dak.
Yeah, Dak
just
not making the play this week that he made last week against the Seahawks. Unable to get that one play.
Exactly.
And it didn't work in their favor. It was the Rams got just enough to win this game. It wasn't that high-flying Rams that we've come to expect where they this season where they're putting people down, that why everybody wants, do you know Sean McVay? Do you want to be my head coach? We didn't get that Rams in this one so much as we got the Cowboys not doing everything they could. Not being perfect cost them this game is really what it came down to.
Absolutely. Great game, and it was a great schematically. That's why it was a close game, you know, because that was a good schematic matchup. I thought going into that game, it was a good schematic matchup. And really, regardless of the outcome, I thought Zeke actually had 26 total touches and more for the Cowboys to win that game. And at the end of the day, I looked at it, I think he got like 21 or 22 total. So he didn't reach, the magical number that I believe that would have got the Cowboys. And you can look at the score, they lost by a single score.
Yep. They lost 30-22 is how that one ends, down by 8. At this one, though, at the very end of the game, it was they were down by 15, and they had to go for this actually erupted on Twitter in a way. I'm surprised. I was going to save this for later, but let me ask you this now. This erupted on Twitter. Do you go for the field goal for the extra point? The Cowboys chose to go for the extra point and then try and get 8 on the second time down rather than go for 2 because you're going to need 2 anyway. What do you do here? Would you rather go for 2 right off the bat, or do you just kick the extra point?
Give you a chance, because if you go 2 for right or you miss it, you're down.
That's 2 minutes out, right? Then there's no strategy from there, as near as I can see.
So yeah.
That's what I thought too.
I don't.
Somebody posted something. There was some math involved in it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, great. The math is the same. You miss it either way."
Oh, there we go with some analytical bull crap. See, you know what I'm saying?
Right. You got to keep hope. You got to keep hope alive by kicking the extra point.
Because you're fighting against time, not analytics.
That's exactly.
You're fighting against time now.
Yeah, because it was 2 minutes left. How you gonna get 9 points in 2 minutes if you can't get that? All right, Guru. So let's then move to Sunday, where the Sunday began with a game that I was almost looking forward to the most, was that Chargers-Patriots game. I thought this was going to be one of the, if not the best games of the weekend. Man, this was an old school ass whooping. The Patriots just dominated this game. They were in Rivers' face the entire game. At one point, I saw a stat. He had 15 dropbacks and 12 pressures in those dropbacks. 4 sacks, 7 hurries, 1 hit kind of thing. In 12 of 15, they were in his face. They dominated on that side. And yet, on the other side of the ball, they completely dominated on the offense by fair to middling measures. They didn't really do a lot to dominate, but what happened here? There's another coaching.
Oh, man. You got to go with now we're talking about the premium of all X's and O's now.
Yes.
This is what you call a premium. You see how it looks so easy? This is a very complicated way of the Patriots. Like, they make the complicated look so simple. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. They make the complex look so simple. Like, you watching this game, you think, my gosh, like what's going on?
Right.
See, the beauty about having a good regular season, having a bye, having that first round bye, you get to see your opponents that before they see you. Mm-hmm. So when you play in that wild card game, now they call it wild card because you got to show your hand now. You know, you got to show your hand and both opponents to have the ability to go to the next round. So now while you're waiting there, you're also not watching films. Now, things that the Chargers have been put on tape, which was that 7 DB concept, got put on tape versus the Ravens. So now Bill is sitting back watching the same thing we watched. You know, so now he knows, okay, and we said this before, if you finna bring that 7 DB crack over here, Ravens, John Harbaugh, what should you have done?
We'll go up the middle, hit him in the soft spots.
Man, and you know what? My man Josh McDaniels, the guru, got to give you ultimate kudos. This is what I'm taught, an old school power, wham, bam, offensive line play, easy play calling. Number 46, Pat Devlin for the New England Patriots. And this is the guru. No one is going to really give this guy his props. You can listen to all the other rhetorics. Pat Devlin was like an IR pancake worker because the only thing he was doing was just straight pancaking charges all night long, 24/7 because he didn't close. When number 46 was in the game, he was straight slamming on the wham and power play to give Sony Michel almost 100 yards in the first quarter, to give Burkhead, to give the entire Patriots running game. My man Pat Devlin was the key difference Josh McDaniels indicated. You bring 7 DBs. So what he basically did multiple times, they line up in the I formation, and then he would get Gronk or whoever the tight end, most of the time it's Gronk, to motion in either to the left side. Most of the time they did it to the left side, right? So now Gronk would go in and get the linebacker, which would be one of the safety, and then you get Pat Devlin go right behind Gronk, who would take and kick out the corner. It was just an ass whooping, and then that gives the running back a freaking open lane.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you said last week after the show that the way you beat this is the I formation. Like, you literally said the I formation. Just put it in the I formation and pound it. And that's what they did. And Sony Michel had 129 yards and 3 touchdowns today. He had a 5.4 yard per carry average day. They just right up the middle. And then Brady had 343 yards, and he didn't seem to throw anything further than like 7 or 8 the entire game. You know, it was just little bits over the middle here and there, and just enough.
Hey, think about it. If you said they average 5 point, what? How much?
Michelle, 5.4 yards a carry.
So if they average like 5.4 yards a carry, basically like the team around that, right?
Yeah.
So then that means it's second and 4.5?
Yeah, that's every time. It's a good point. Give him the ball. Second 4.5.
Give me 4.
We still got Tom Brady. We're good.
We got a first down. We get another 5 yards, right? Okay, second. Give me the first down. And after you keep doing that, what's gonna happen?
You're gonna win.
An old school ass whooping.
Yeah,
that's what it does.
What was your word? Mollywopped him?
Mollywopped. Because
mollywopped
at one point I saw a crazy drive. They were 5 for 5 in the red, like 5 for 5.
Yeah, their first 4, they took the ball first, which is not really the Patriots thing. Normally Bill Belichick to first. Belichick took the ball first in this game.
So make a statement.
Yeah,
to say, you know what?
Pow,
bring that 7 DBs.
Pow. Just all over them. The first 4 or 5 they scored on them. It was now this one went back and forth. This was like that Broncos Niners Super Bowl. It was quick strike, and you're like, oh shit! This one's gonna be rocky, going through. It's gonna be a heavyweight fight, and then that was it. It was just from that, no one. Over. Chargers never got up again.
And I love what they do. And basically, what Belichick did was,
and then he backs off in the second half.
In the first half, this is what he did. It was beautiful, dude. It was beautiful. On defensively, this is what makes him so great. He basically went 0 blitz on Bledsoe. I said Bledsoe on Rivers. On Rivers. Woo, Bledsoe, you in my hair, big dog. Call the show, Drew. You still my man, cuz.
I'd love to talk to Bledsoe, actually.
But anyhow, so what he did against Phillip Rivers, he kind of reminded me of Bledsoe. They kind of have the same structure. But anyhow, what he did with Phillip Rivers is he went in the first half, just first half enough, right? He's like, you know what? My guy, Stephon Gilmore, straight man-on-man, locked down on Keenan Allen. He's better than your guy. That's what we're gonna do. And then he basically kind of doubled the rest of the receivers. Mm-hmm. So you're like, you're not gonna beat me. So that means for Phillip Rivers as a quarterback, you got to hold the ball a little bit longer, which the pressure came. And also then when he became third and long situation, this is what I love. In third and long situation, straight 0 blitz. That means he put everyone in the line of scrimmage. We're going to line up right here, no safety over top, and we're going to say, let's play ball, Phillip, because there's always going to be a one-man free that you can't block. So it's like Phillip knows it's coming, everybody's knowing, but you got to complete the play. And when I saw it, they completed the first touchdown. That's what they did against with Keenan Allen to make it 14-7. They beat him with that straight zero blitz. I'm sorry, that was on a cover 3-7 on Gilmore. He got in his eyes. But it was Mike Williams that made a great play on the zero blitz. But what I was basically trying to say is Bill Belichick out-schemed him. And then in the second half, you know what he did? He showed him the same look, like it's a zero blitz. And guess what it was? Because now the linemen, they're all thinking, they said, oh, here come the all-out blitz. So then he backed off. He backed off from a cover zero and dropped into a zone coverage, which is a masterful X's and O's, Cheerios performance by Josh McDaniels and Belichick as far as the entire coaching staff. And really, they were just in another level, you know. There's no disrespect. But, you know, when you have a freshman that got moved up to the varsity level,
right?
There's a different, you know what I mean, adjustment period. He was at the varsity level, and he got what we call an old school Boston massacre.
Right, they just got creamed on this one. Now, the score wasn't even as close as the score finally indicates, 41-28. This game was over at halftime. It was 35-7 at halftime, and anything that happened from there. The Patriots defense was on them all night and blew it up. Melvin Gordon, on the other side, exactly the opposite kind of day as Ernie Michel. He had a total of 15 yards. He had a 1.7. Now, he had a touchdown. He had a 1.7 yard average. 15 yards is where he finishes out on that game. So once again, Bill Belichick just blowing it up. We'll see what he does next week on the road, and we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about the final game of the weekend, which was had to see it coming, though I didn't really enjoy it, if I'm completely honest with you. As the magic ran out for Nick Foles and the Eagles, as the Saints got on top of them. Tell me about this one, Guru. How did this one end up this way?
Man, this was a good game.
It was better than most people thought it was going to be.
It was a really good game.
They were in it the whole time.
And it's a couple of things like I mentioned from the preview is I was going to tell you the New Orleans defense, they move fast laterally.
Yeah.
You know,
cross field.
You could attack them straight ahead, but dang it, bro, when you want to go side by side, which the Eagles really their scheme is based on, is more of a horizontally paced scheme, you know, rather than a downhill linear based scheme as far as running wise. So, and all this screen they try to set up, the Saints are built for that. You know, as far as they have a bunch of guys in the secondary with speed, and you know my guy, one of my favorite guy, one of the best DB in the game, Marshawn Lattimore. You've been talking about him for 2 years. For 2 years, so I think they did exactly what I mean, schematic wise, as far as remember the versatility of Philly's offense. Now they met against a defense that's also as versatile as far as the game changing positions. So Alshon Jeffers was a marquee guy in the passing game for the Philly going in, especially with the relationship he has with Nick Foles.
With Foles, yeah.
That's just outstanding. They could just sleep and just know and close their eyes and complete passes. And with Marshawn Lattimore following him, locking him down, now that had to put a lot of pressure on Foles because other people had to make plays. Which had to be Golden Tate, which had to be Nelson Aguilar, which has been the other guys. So they took away their first option, you know. So that really stumbled and put a stalemate on Philly's overall concept of their offense because they're used to spreading the ball apart.
Yeah.
They're used to having Jeffers. That slowed their game down. That made Nick Foles have to look an extra second. You know, that extra second in the playoff game is the reason why you're going to be here watching New Orleans play.
Well, this game started off in the Eagles' favor. They go up with two quick touchdowns in the first quarter. It's 14-0 after the first, and that was it. The Eagles couldn't get it going after that. The Saints, I don't want to say dominated because they never really got it. They did enough to get it going here. The Eagles couldn't get anything going. Nick Foles, 201 yards and a touchdown, 2 interceptions, one late in the game to end it all. And then there's Smallwood, 33 yards rushing, leads the Eagles in rushing. Alshon Jeffries, you mentioned him, 63 yards receiving is all he comes in. And the big one, actually, that really shut them down was Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz only has 50 yards in this game, and that is a major stop. I watched this game. This was and I told you last week that I thought that the Eagles' secondary was the other part that was the problem here, and it looked to me like Drew Brees found the holes in it on the other side. Was this a scheme issue? Was this a player issue?
No, well, what did we say last week? Like we mentioned, it was the key guys, Maddox and LeBlanc. Going into the game, the two guys I mentioned, Maddox and LeBlanc. The way this work is, the corners of Maddox, LeBlanc, and Rasul Douglas, right? Rasul is basically their best corner, but he's a good corner. He's a good corner, but he's not an elite corner to say, yeah, he's going to shut down. But he is their best. So I see they didn't put him in a situation because the Eagles are not a man-on-man type team in a sense like that. But what they did was I was anticipating they're going to have at least Rasul go against Mike Thomas the whole game.
Mike Thomas had a hell of a game.
Yes. And we predicted here, watching the films, I knew Sean Payton's game plan was to go against Maddox and LeBlanc. That was a game plan. Anyone could see that watching the films. You attack Maddox and LeBlanc. That's who your game plan is. So it's kind of funny. The very first play of the game, they try to attack Maddox and LeBlanc with Ted Ginn. The very first couple of series, that's what I'm saying. And I went in there and mentioned, I'm like, no, I didn't want Ted Ginn. You know what I mean? Ted Ginn is not really the guy I would prefer to attack those guys. So they tried it with Ted Ginn. It wasn't really successful. And now
Brees was picked off his first throw of the game.
Exactly. It wasn't successful, right? And then they made an adjustment a little bit. And then they started moving Michael Thomas around. And they realized Rasul Douglas don't move with him. So now Michael Thomas could line up anywhere and basically line up wherever Maddox and LeBlanc is and go to work. And that's what they did. They put Michael Thomas wherever the young boys are, and he went to work. And just like we predicted, that was the Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Sean Payton identified that, and he went to work.
Took him a quarter.
But
he got it.
He got it. He didn't even, before it connected, because I give it to the young boys. They played tough the first quarter. They played tough the first quarter and a half, because I think Doug Peterson and Greg Schwartz knew Sean Payton was going to attack him. You know, we weren't the only one that know that. He knew they're going to attack him, so they prepared those guys early enough to sustain that. But it's hard, man, when you're 5'9", when you're 5'10", going against Mike Thomas. It's hard, man. It's hard for the whole game. Man.
Mike Thomas starting in the second quarter. This game, you could feel the momentum shift in this game in the second, and Michael Thomas was a big reason for it. He starts popping up and showing up in just random places and catching the ball. All of a sudden, he's got the ball, and he ends the game with 171 yards and a touchdown. And I got to tell you, the other thing I noticed about this game is we talk about the home field advantage. We talked about the home cooking and the loudness in Arrowhead. Sometime during the second, the Superdome got loud, man. It got like Seattle loud in the Superdome, where Nick Foles looked rattled. I've never seen Nick Foles look rattled, but he couldn't talk. They had to call timeouts because he couldn't talk to the guys. You know, like it was just too loud. It was delay of game calls as caused by the crowd at the Superdome, and it really made a difference as sort of the momentum changes and started to really grind in this game. So it was the magic run. It was bound to happen eventually.
I mean, it was going to happen, man. And is it safe to say now, you still think I'm crazy coming to say Michael Thomas is the best receiver in football? Because are you looking at the guru like a crazy guy? Because how many times do I need to keep saying this? Because I've been saying it for so long. Like, is it safe for me to say that now?
You could probably say it now, but then again, if you're talking about him beating these beat up corners on the,
oh my goodness,
you
what
do this.
Is this rhetoric every time? So that means every corner in the league is a beat up corner because
no, he beat them all up this year. It had a pretty good year. All right, Guru. Well, let's look ahead now. We're going a little bit long talking about these games, obviously, because we just saw them. They're coming up fresh today. Let's take a look ahead. I know it's early. I know you're going to go back and watch the matchups from earlier in the season again to really grind this out on Guru's film room. But Let me get your first impressions of this, because both of these championship game matchups are sequels. These were big games earlier in the season, big high-flying, high-scoring games. The Chiefs-Pats game was in October, and the Patriots win it 43-40 in New England, whereas the other game, the Rams-Saints, is in November, and the Saints win it 45-35 in New Orleans. So let's start with the Chiefs-Pats. This was the one where the Pats blew a huge halftime lead and then hung on to win with a last-second kick. This time we're going to Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm.
But again, X's and O's season. This is a young guard, old guard. I don't want to call Andy Reid the new guard on this one, but Patrick Mahomes in there is sort of a new guard going against Tom Brady. What are you seeing in this one as we go into it, Guru?
This is going to be this is the Final Four, man. This is really the best 4 teams in football.
Yeah, well, this weekend, the divisional weekend, is always the best weekend of football to watch, but next weekend really is. These are the 4 best teams. We saw this coming in.
Mm-hmm.
No big surprise that we landed on these 4 teams in Kansas City.
It's so funny, right? And the part one of both of those games are one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, right? Top games of the year, the ones we're still talking about.
And this is still one like, oh, man, this is tough, man. I mean, this is tough, bro. You talking about the epitome of the X's and O's in the AFC right now. You talking about Andy going against Bill. I'm talking about. But one thing I mentioned, I want to go back. I remember the first game that struck to me. The New England Patriots, another cover 3 team.
Right.
They are not, and I mentioned this, and I'm going to mention this again. Watching the film, they played majority of their defense cover 3.
In that October game.
In that October game. And I said, whoa, Lestro, listen here. You might think I'm going crazy, but what freaking Belichick is doing, he's anticipating they're going to meet the Chiefs somewhere down the line. He's collecting data. So meaning, in a cover 3 scheme, is that one way you could actually collect and see, you know what I'm saying, of what the plays, what the other person's card really is in the sense of a poker game. So Andy Reid showed him some cards, and the only thing Belichick did was just showed him defensively wise just a very easy, mediocre cover 3 simple look.
So you don't expect Belichick to come out with an easy cover 3 here in the championship game, Guru?
Isn't that why they call him the best when it comes to situational football? There's a reason why he was a Spygate contributor. There's a reason why he's a Deflategate contributor, because this guy is such an attention to detail type of guy.
I'm not surprised if he's been working on this game, knew it was going to happen, saw it coming, has been planning to play the Chiefs in the championship game in Arrowhead since October. He saw it when they met the first time. He was like, all right, we're coming back for the championship, so let's. I wouldn't be, Belichick's got that sort of 4D chess thing about him.
Absolutely.
What do you see happening here, though, as we get into this game? Is this Patrick Mahomes versus Belichick's defense? Is this Tom Brady versus Andy Reid's defense?
No, there's no defense.
No, it's all offense. This is all offense.
The only thing about defense is who's going to make the play. It's not like a defense is going to dominate the game. It's going to be a play. Mm-hmm. Who's going to make that key defensive strip, defensive fumble, defensive interception? Who's going to throw that? That's what it's going to come down to. And if I'm going by data, I'm going by history. And it's I hate to say, but I got to go with conservative. I got to go with the status quo. I know it's boring. I know it's not eccentric. I know it's tired. I know the wife wants the new guy. I know he wants the new sex when you're younger. But no, you're always going to be there. You're steady Eddie. I'm always going to be there on time when you need me. You might not appreciate it, but that's what it is. And Tom, TB12, the Bostonian, just because, and I feel this from Andy Reid, but Mahomes is going to make that one play, that one throw.
That one that he shouldn't.
They shouldn't. Just because he's 23, 24. Because when I was that age, I shouldn't have driven that one time.
Right.
I shouldn't have talked to that one girl.
No.
You should have just done that one thing at 24. We all know what that is. And imagine that with everybody watching you. He's going to do that one thing. You're going to be like, no. But you know what? You're going to learn from it. Because when you're 27, you're going to be like, I've seen that before.
Right, I get it next time.
So with that said, the old man will proceed, and Daddy's going to win. and the young boy, he's going to take over the league. Not just yet, my Don. Not just yet, Pat.
So this is a torch that will be passed, but not this weekend, is what you're telling me. This is the Pats game again, even in Arrowhead?
In Arrowhead, it's going to be once again come down to one play, and I foresee Patrick Mahomes forcing a play that he shouldn't force. You know, it could be a turnover. It could be incomplete. It's going to be something, and we're going to talk more about it, but it's going to come down to one. Just remember this, one single play, and it's going to be Patrick Mahomes that's going to decide this game.
And see, I'm going to go the other way on this one. I'm going to say it comes down to one single play, and the Pats don't have the hands to make it, is what I'm going to say on this one, because their personnel has been good, not great this season, and it seems to me that you'll have Tom Brady just miss like something that if they had who's the guy that had to leave this year?
Josh Gordon.
If they had Josh Gordon, they make this catch. Not going to make this catch because they don't have Josh Gordon. I think it's going to come down to that, and the Chiefs are going to sneak by. But as always, I don't know if I would bet against Belichick, and I don't know that I would bet on Andy Reid not finding a way to blow this game in the end of it anyway. You know, like you know me, I don't trust Andy Reid. I gotta go with the Pats on this one in general, but I would not be surprised if it came down to them not having the guy. It could go either way.
I'm surprised.
This was a coin flip.
I'm
as far as I'm
surprised you
concerned.
didn't say it's gonna come to Andy Reid guys making a flag.
It's Andy Reid not throwing a challenge flag at the wrong time. It's Andy Reid not having a timeout.
They're the most penalized team, Chiefs and all that.
They are the most penalized
that's
team.
the thing.
Going to be a problem, especially against New England and Belichick.
Exactly, and that's why I said it's going to be an issue because when it comes down to the Patriots are not going to beat themselves. You know, you got to go beat the Patriots.
Boy, that's the damn truth.
You got to go beat the
damn
Patriots,
truth.
man.
You know, you know a Belichick team is not going to fold, and they're not going to make the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably going to be the Pats in this one. The other reason is I think it actually come down to Andy Reid not having a timeout. Watch it'll come down to the end of the game. He'll have thrown a challenge flag somewhere along the line. They'll need a timeout to stop the game with 20 seconds left, 10 seconds left. You just can't even spike it because they got to get a kickoff for a field goal. They're going to lose by 2. They lose by 2. You know what I mean? Like it'll be one of those Andy Reid games.
Wow.
All right, so then let's switch to the other side. Let's talk about the NFC Championship here next week, which matches up the LA Rams against the New Orleans Saints. These are the two big games. The last time these two teams matched up was another whiz bag of a game at I think it was at 45-35 that this one ended up. This is the Michael Thomas flip phone game. Was this one that they played? What do you see in this one, Guru?
You know. Can the real Sean please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up. Can the real Sean please stand up? You know what I'm saying? Because we know we go with the old consistent.
Well, this
man, I've been saying, my Sean.
This one 100% is old school versus new school. This is Sean Payton and Drew Brees versus Sean McVay and Jared Goff. This is the old and the new in the NFC. This is it.
You know, I'm talking about the Seans and the Sean, man. And just like I said before, and I'm going to say it again, is a game is going to come down to a particular matchup. When it comes to X's and O's seasons, you identify deficiencies of your opponents.
And you exploit them.
Exploit that. Because it's going to be a minute deficiencies. And you got to exploit that. You got to come out with creative ways to exploit that deficiencies over and over and over and over. And I kept going. I'm going on record and saying that the biggest deficiency, like I mentioned for the Eagles, was the LeBlanc and Maddox.
The corners.
The corners. The biggest deficiencies for the Los Angeles Rams is number 22 corner Marcus Peters. He is the biggest Achilles heels. He's been hurting them all season long, but because of the talent, because of the offense, they've been able to hide that. But every time they play against an elite team, a team that could expose that, he's been put on notice and been exposed. But once again, he's been saved because of the catalog of players he has. Mm-hmm. So what I see again, obviously there's a history between him and Sean Payton with the first game. So what I see, if they were smart, and I'm talking about, and Wade Phillips is one of the smart OG coaches, but he's a stubborn mofo. But if he's smart, which I know he is, he better don't put freaking Marcus Peters or Michael Thomas.
Oh, Michael Thomas.
He better get Talib.
Yeah, you got to get.
He's going to get Talib on freaking Michael Thomas.
That's why you brought him on this team. You put him on Michael Thomas. That is 100%. That's it. That is your number one guy. You make sure he's covered.
You put him on that. But once again, I'm going to go back and say it. The young guys, because I'm not feeling Ted Ginn. Hey, Sean Payton, listen to the guru again. You made your adjustment. Somebody must have told you that. You must have been listening to Trash Show Radio during halftime. Obviously, stop messing with Ted Ginn Jr. on that bullshit. All right, leave the young guys out there, Kirkwood and Tyquan Smith. Leave them out there. They both could keep exposing number 22, and the whole world gonna see why number 22 won't be in LA next year, and Sean Payton and company gonna have a big game against 22.
And it is home in New Orleans, where they a great team in New Orleans, great fans. And I'm telling you, I could not believe how loud it was in the Superdome. It was Seattle loud, man. Like, everybody talks about Arrowhead and CenturyLink being the loudest. But I'll tell you what, New Orleans was up for it today, man. They're going to be up for it next week, too.
Oh, my gosh, man. And just the fact that's even juiced up with the whole confrontation, with Marcus Peters, little rhetoric. Saying, okay, we're going to see you keep talking that. So, Sean Payton's going to sit there, I'm going to come up with some plays, Mr. You know what I call that? Chase that cheese Peters. You know what I'm saying? You dangle that cheese on him on a double move, say goodbye, man. It's easy as go, man. You double move Marcus Peters, Drew Brees give him a little wink, bye-bye, and they could just give him a kiss goodbye, man.
So you heard it here first. Guru's got the Patriots-Saints Super Bowl is what we're looking at.
Yes, sir.
A couple weeks from now. I'll tell you what.
The NFL deserves.
Just what we deserve. Two of the top teams and the best teams going forward. All right, Guru, let's take a quick break here, and we'll come back on do segment 2, where we're going to have our call-outs and shout-outs on the week. We'll look forward with our Bets with Ben segment with Ben Carey of thecurrencykings.com. We got a little bit of a 2-minute drill here to end it out on, and then we'll go from there. What do you say?
Let's get it, baby.
Trash Dog Radio.
TTR.